Yes, and the front goes to their back. And they paid the tax for their program. And it was amazing to
Just done with this team several studies about the use of direct democracy.
The exact place where the democracy was not only formed but also practiced. This whole area is different places where had its gatherings and making its political decisions. In the first level, the one up there, we have the period of the classical times, where we have the tribune of the speakers, and in front of it the altar of Zeus Vouleos. That is, we know that this is the Πνύκα. This is the place of democracy. It's in a way an image that is used in many books. And we had a small theater in front with wood so that the people could study. Place where people usually were passing, they were not standing there and speaking to each other, communicating to each other. It was just a place that we have brief announcements, and people, they don't stay there as much as in the Greek Agora. After the 3rd century, the assembly of Demos moved to the theater of Dionysos in the other side of Acropolis. Maybe you pass from there?
Not all of us.
And till the Roman times, we have the Ecclesia of Demos having its assemblies down there.
Just glad to be here, and I'm glad that we have the second meeting, and I think that the program that George has set forth will be very productive for people who are here. We don't seem to go too much for numbers, but the quality of the presentations at the first were excellent, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be equally good or better this time. And there would be no better place to have it, seems to me, than Athens and in this place where democracy, or what we call direct democracy, actually began. And I like to say in Western culture, and I know some people here don't like that idea too much, but in my studies, anthropological studies, I know that there are many hunter-gatherer tribes that even preceded the Athenians, who had democracy, direct democracy as well. The Aborigines in Australia, Native Americans in America, but this certainly has the philosophy and the expanded practices throughout the world stemming from the Athenian democracy, and it's a great place to be. So I thank George and all of our Greek hosts for all the work they did in bringing us together, and for everyone who has come. I'm sure that you will get a lot out of it.
Thank you also. And I think that also Mr. Ziri Pollack, who is the editor of our newsletter,
and it was originally his idea.
Exactly. He is also one of our founding fathers of the continuing International Congress. Please, Ziri.
I have nothing much to say. I am just happy that this idea goes on, that what we started in Příbram has found continuation in Greece and hopefully in other countries later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sagi, who is a writer of a book of direct democracy, one of the first people who came here, who came in Příbram, in Prague, could say also a few words for us.
First of all, I want to thank everybody here to come. It's a great place to spread the word and be acquainted with ideas, and this is the best place. Although it's sweating to come here, as sweating it is to make progress, but nevertheless we made it, climbed to the hilltop, and wish you all success.
It's a great honor and pleasure to be here. Many of you I met in Příbram, and I'm very glad to see that it is continuing from Jerry's work and Ted's work and your work, and I'm very honored and proud to be here. So thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And also, Mr. Michel Arnaud also gave his sponsorship.
Well, this is my first one, so I'm hoping I can learn a few things here as well as if anybody has any questions for me too to participate in this conference.
Thank you also. And Mr. Heiko Dittmer from the Network of European Initiatives on Direct Democracy.
And although the worldwide gathering we have now might be completely different from what I expect to be the place to work on in Europe, because we have things to move on and to work on very hard in Europe towards what is happening on a political dynamics at this point in time in Europe. We have to go step by step to realize things, and whether we come together, when we come together on the worldwide level, I have the impression it's just still exchanging ideas and starting thinking about the next 1,000 years and not about the next 10 years or the next 20 years. But I'm still very glad to be here.
Thank you also. And finally, Mrs. Lappin will give us a few details of this beginning of
a more inspiring place to be. I do feel this is kind of a holy place. I remember coming here when I was 22 years old for the first time, never realizing that I would be here with a group of international people all concerned about democracy and promoting democracy. And I think that it's important to balance place as well as ideas, and get the inspiration from the place, I think is going to be very good for us. And I think the way the program's set up is it's set up in a very democratic fashion where everybody has a voice, everybody has a contribution to make. George has set it up with his co-organizers here so that we have lots of times in cafes and at dinners so we can extend our discussion. And in addition to learning from each other about what's going on in individual countries, I hope that we continue what we did in Pribram, where we also make connections and relationships in the informal settings that we're in, where we get collaborative projects going on, and we support each other in the endeavors that we have. So we have a time frame where we have presentations the first day to give reports from different countries, and then tomorrow we get some expertise from people who've actually done some hands-on project experience where we can learn more from there. And so I just hope the next few days are learning, sharing, and getting inspired and continuing this wonderful network that was started in the Czech Republic.
Thank you very much, all of you. So I think that now we can have a small induration.
Yeah.
Cyber citizens, I wish to thank you on behalf of the Greek political, non-governmental, non-partisan organization called Forum for Citizens Democracy for coming in Greece in order to participate in our second International Congress on Direct Democracy. We hope that this place, having this climate almost the same as that of 2,500 years ago, is going to inspire all of us to think about all the subjects of our program necessary for establishing a worldwide direct democracy movement. As you know, this second International Congress on direct democracy worldwide. Many of you were present at the first International Congress, which took place in Pribram, a suburb of Prague in Czechia 2 years ago. It was decided there that this second Congress should take place here, as they influenced the social and political life of Athens and produced the mentality of the active citizen. This resulted in the view of Pericles, who said, if somebody does not wish to be busy with the city affairs, he has no value at all for the city life. Secondly, Solon introduced a council of 400 members whose role was to prepare the works for the popular assembly, the so-called Ecclesia of Demos. Later, Clisthenes, another legislator, at the end of the 6th century BC, changed the number of citizens belonging to this council to 500 persons. pay attention to this, prepared them for the Ecclesia in order to have the best possible voting and laws for the city-state of Athens. By the way, the Vouli, the term Vouli, is actually the same name as the contemporary Vouli, the Parliament of Greece, meaning in our days Greek Parliament, which has an absolutely different role than this authentic Vouli of that era. This council's importance is colossal, as the first conscious, definite and datable political innovation in European history. It is the first concrete attempt to create a third force between the aristocracy and the masses of population, with the excellent influence we all know on the development of culture and everyday life. This example of a citizens' council, similar to today's parliaments, having not the role of decision-making, but the role of presenting different drafts of legislation before the public, who can and should vote, is exactly the model that the direct democratic political system can use to transfer power from the politicians to the citizens themselves. In such a case, we would have a transformation and upgrading of political parties who claim to be an intermediary between the people and their lawmaking, but rarely are. Instead, we need a body of concerned citizens to become disinterested movers of proposals for the voting referenda or of draft legislation. Thinking this way, according to the thoughts of Solon and Clisthenes, we may imagine the framework of the new status and structure of the future human societies, overcoming the existing political system of representative indirect democracy. We also need to emphasize the correct use and exploitation of the technological development for the function of such direct democracy systems. We think that the future political system of direct democracy should give the right to all people to participate without representatives in taking all the major decisions that concern us at all levels of our lives and in our work. So, how might that work? The changes that Solon and Clisthenes made offer inspiration and thinking about the re-establishment of the relative democratic institutions for our political systems, both in state and in global level. We can now have, after the turnover of the millennium, the goal of returning direct democracy to Athens, Greece and the whole world during the 21st century. And this goal can be achieved if we follow relative procedures when trying to solve the contemporary problems of the world and of the smaller places where we live, work and create. If we also decide to use institutions as the citizens' assemblies, comprised of citizen volunteers, functioning initially as direct democratic prefectural councils and subsequently coming together in regional, national, European and world level. At each of these levels, the assemblies will be manned on the basis of perpetual readiness and citizen rotation. The direct democratic functioning of the citizens' assemblies will be secured. First, through balloting sortition of volunteers as officials. Second, with the right to recall of officials. Third, with no provision for repeated participation in balloting by those who have exercised a particular office until such time as all interested fellow citizen volunteers have been deployed in that office. All citizens should be allowed to interact with this citizens group via the television and the internet. It should be polled to see what new ideas or alternations they may recommend. Speaking about observing and controlling the contemporary governmental powers, we can think of establishing, parallel to the power to the ministry, citizens' initiatives for governmental monitoring. Such initiatives will act as a shadow instrumentality, monitoring every branch of administration according to its division in separate ministries. All interested cities will be entitled to participate freely in these initiatives. Last but not least, we should demand in all our countries or federal states we live the institutionalization of referenda, which should be called either after the concentration of a suitable number of signatures or within the existing parliamentary system by parliamentarians being able to call a referendum through acquiring the backing of an absolute majority of them. but without any party discipline, on the only basis of their own and not their partisan conscience. Of course, we have to add the legislative initiatives by citizens that will make it possible for legislation to be voted on, or old laws to be nullified, if so desired, by an enlarged majority of citizens. Speaking about such proposal, we should face the problem of international issues, which cannot be faced within the framework of the legal system of each state, and about which there are no provisions in international law. For example, the worldwide pollution and ecological balance, or the correct use of the cultural heritage internationally, or even about the right of national sovereignty against the exercised powers of the globalization organizations such as NATO or other like forces. We think that this failure of international law in finding solutions to such problems should be redressed by the expressed will of the citizens of the world using the means of cyberspace and electronic referenda in order to avoid further damage of our global environment, unfair use of each country's national heritage, or even to protect the national sovereignty according to the common sense of global justice, instead of according to the wills of global corporations, financial speculation, or their international agencies. We think and propose for our Congress the longest day of the first year of the new millennium. Today is the longest day. We, the Second Congress of International Direct Democracy, passed during our works later a resolution calling for global electronic referenda on the above issues. We think that a few citizens of the world gathered in a place like this here, in Πνύκα, which is the cradle of democracy, may and should begin a historical process of establishing the electronic referenda as a means of protecting mankind from many of the evils it faces. And also, we should never forget that we should fight our enemies, the enemies of direct democracy, on a global level using their own weapons, the weapons of globalization and cyberspace. We must now go on record and say clearly that any mandate to parliamentarians and governments or other representatives to decide the future of the world for us belongs to prior times of political manipulation and enslavement of citizens. The internet can not only be used for electronic commerce or electronic observatories for our personal lives, as the global corporate aristocrats prefer, but it can also be used as the main means for informed and dedicated citizen decision-making procedures worldwide. Let's vote by tomorrow, actually and symbolically, under the auspices of Acropolis at Parthenon, exactly the place, at the original place of the authentic Ecclesia of Demos, that electronic referenda should resolve issues concerning the global ecology, the protection of national cultural heritage, and matters of national sovereignty. This αγορεύειν βούλετε. This was what in this place always said. Who would like to speak now? It means the most common question and expression in this sacred place. Everybody who wants to speak may have the floor now. Please.
A brief word on the symbolic the act of democratic procedure. Dearest honorable guests, I welcome you in the name of my ancestors who formed the honor.
Because I have a great speech to do, but because of the pleasure of speaking to you from such a stage. The way of me sharing in this Congress is a proposal of about a new way of mastering language, starting from the bottom of family up to society, in order to improve direct democracy in people's minds. But I will speak about this tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you to you.
Anybody else? This αγορεύειν βούλετε. Who would like to speak?
I'm
Please.
I don't know about you, but
You can have the floor.
I would like to stand up here
Of course.
and to address. No, I intend to address, just say something about how I feel about being here. So why don't we all do it? I mean, here's an opportunity for each of us to stand here in the Ecclesias and address fellow citizens of the world about our feelings about why we're here. Just a short statement. Have the experience. 2,500 years ago, they were doing this in this very same spot with like-minded citizens. So why don't we all just say how we feel? Everyone just take a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want, so we can get to know how we feel about this. I think it's a holy place. I personally feel spiritual about this. I think democracy and God go together. So
You go first.
yeah, no, I don't want to go first.
Take the floor.
By the way, the acoustics are great here. If you stand up there, it carries all the way down.
It even enlarges your message, doesn't it?
It does. Why don't you stand up there?
I'm not standing up there because I feel more closer to me to stand at the same level.
You are very tall.
That's why I'm not standing. I would only like to reply to Telstar that it is a great honor to be here and to feel the true spirit of participation among friends that are so alive in this wonderful world to come. I have only a message of emotion, as you can hear now. I will be back later. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, please. Michelle, no.
I only hope the Greeks didn't have wool pants. The only thing I've heard from a lot of different people around the world is that the only government that's legitimate gives a voice to the people. And I think that that's maybe the message that we should try to convey to our governments who don't have a direct democracy type of system, that they really can't have a legitimate government unless they give people the right to direct their own laws. So that's all I'll say.
Anybody else? So, Ted?
No.
Hi, wow, good view. I'm very honored to be here. I think I'm probably the youngest one here, but and very honored to be able to share this these few days with so many people with so many great experiences. I guess I'm here to be able to really ensure that we're thinking not only about referenda and how citizens really impact decision making, but also to ensure that really good deliberation and informed discussion is connected to any kinds of referenda, any kinds of direct democracy, because that's what I really care about. And so that's just what I'm going to be pushing for in the next couple of days. So that's about it.
Thank you.
Nice.
It's great being here in this place, and I would like to say something about Europe. This was the place of starting democracy in Europe. When we look today, what is happening, that about 60% of the laws in the different European countries, European Union countries, are already depending or coming from a European level where no democracy at all is used. So where are we going to? So it's 5 minutes before 5 minutes before noon, to change things, at least in Europe, because Europe at this point in time is going away with the idea of democracy if we don't react. And this is a very good point to react, starting from here. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
You can say your name.
Okay, please.
Here to say you. I won't say all this. I say Agar than all you. That's all.
Could you please explain us glasses why were these stairs? Just a few words. What does it
Yes,
symbolize?
actually this was a big monument that holds a statue of Zeus, and above it they were studying the observers of the sky, they were so called, and they were looking always high to see if they have some straight sign happening, that means that one speaker or more did the hubris, they did something insulting for the laws of nature.
And what about the stairs, the number of stairs?
I don't know.
And I would like that it's not necessary to reinvent democracy. It's necessary only to improve every participant and every country representative to be effective. And I'm glad because it's necessary to come back every time on the fundamentals. Democracy is, how to say, the name comes from Greece, demos and kratos. And sometime and every time when we are in some difficult situation, it will be necessary to come back on the fundamental, to rethink and to have a new idea. And I think that for Europe and for the world, to create the framework to be effective democracy. And because of my field, informatics, I think that is a good idea to delete all barrier, inhibition and so on, for every person, for every people to express his own things about some important things according to democratic aspects. Thank you very much.
And Angela, your name, everybody should know.
My name?
Yeah.
It's Angela Ionita from Romania.
Welcome. So.
Well, it's a very great experience to stand here and to have an audience directly before you. So I think this is a part of direct democracy, to see the people and to speak to them and to listen to them in a close contact. And I feel it is very necessary that we approach democracy on a global level through cyberspace or whatever you said. But I also think it is a psychological matter. We must first of all practice democracy with our neighbors and in small groups, and especially in Europe, direct democracy means to establish people's activities in small places, in communities, to have initiatives there and to learn to discuss politics there. So I feel very honored and very grateful to practice this here in this place.
Name?
Franz Giesemann of More Democracy in Germany.
Thank you.
The name first.
I am glad to be here and to take part in this conference. I am also happy that there are people from all over the world who are concerned about the issue of democracy and the crisis of democracy worldwide, and trying to find ways of empowering the people and having the people involved in the decision making. I am actually a member of what we call People's Congress, where we participate on the discussions and debates that will lead to formulating decisions, very major decisions. And in my experience, I have participated in formulating decisions regarding war, regarding peace, regarding passing laws that affect our daily lives. So I have an experience in that regard, and I hope that I will share it with you for the next 2 or 3 days.
to see the view.
I'm to be young again.
Well, I'm Arve Kvantiroiko from the University of Tampere, and I heard from a person in the registration that my last name sounds like anti-heroism or something in Greek. Antiroiko. I don't know if that's true. In Greece, my name would be Aristoteles Antiroikolou or something like that. And, well, I'm puzzled maybe with other kind of problems than you. I'm puzzled with the conceptual problems of democracy in general and different forms of democracy. And somehow I think that it is not only, well, I think most of you share my view that it's not only direct democracy, but much broader concept. But what is this broader concept and what is this field we're dealing with, in fact? What is the kind of hybrid model of democracy that we are looking for? It's a real challenge. And as an academic, I think it's from a conceptual point of view. And I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm very interested in hearing your presentations from all over the world of what is going on and how you perceive these things. And especially I wish to thank George and Ted for encouraging us to come here and speak a little. Thanks.
I would like to say just it's amazing how the theory of groups is represented here in Greece. You are all members of a particular national group, particular language group, a particular religious affiliation, and so on. Yet we are all together here because I think we are most concerned about the future of human civilization. And when we talk about national sovereignty and other concepts like this, we should not forget about the fundamentals of theory and study fundamental theories, that if we understand those, we could be all together in spite of these differences of group membership, because we have one thing in common. We're all human beings, and we're all very concerned about the future of civilization. And I don't think we could think about it next 1,000 years. My time frame, as far as I'm concerned, is very short. As far as the time frame of the young generation is concerned, it's probably less than 50 years. Thank you.
Name?
George Sagi, Canada, and Hungary.
My name is Stavros Ioannidis, and I'd like to put just a question. How could we make the words, the theorems, fact? In that level, I am your service. Thank you.
Please. After.
Hello everyone. I am Shuji Mamoto from Osaka, Japan. I'm very happy to come here and to be invited here in Athens because I'm originally a philosopher, so this is a very holy place for me. I hope everything will be going well.
I'd like to share the experience with you. Thank you, Ted, that you encouraged us to be part of this process. It's a great feeling. We have to encourage people to participate, and we have to do it on different levels, in different areas where we live. Europe has shown that it's very difficult to develop democratic structures till now, and we face a lot of problems, like for the other activists, to implement democracy again on that level. And the task to organize it on global level is even a bigger challenge. But I'm glad that you started yet, and I hope that I can be a helpful part in the process.
Who's Dane?
States, well, actually, with the last Congress that we were at in Prague and Pribram, the whole issue that the people are the ultimate sovereign was a foreign concept to many people. In the United States, I think to some degree we take that for granted with our founding fathers and the fact that our country was founded by the people and the people are the ultimate sovereign. But in many nations that I've traveled to, like in Japan and many European countries, people don't really understand the concept that the people are the sovereign. The power derives from them. And that is something that we have to, that we should all work together to educate the people, that they are empowered, that the government comes from them. And I think that's the first challenge, and the first thing that we have to do is educate the people about what their rights are, that they are sovereign. And then after that, we have to work on what is the best form of government. I mean, is it pure direct democracy, as some people espouse? Is it a form of representative government with direct democracy as a check and balance? I mean, there are different visions of what democracy is, and we need to work toward that. So I just wanted to say that, and also say that I am very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say. Thanks. Bye.
I got goosebumps standing here. It's quite an experience. It's made me emotional. I'd like to say that I think democracy is difficult. And I think that we've got the next 2 or 3 days where we're going to be discussing a lot of issues. And I think that what we need to keep in mind at all times is that democracy, I believe, comes from the heart. It comes from the soul. It comes from the spirit. And it comes from a connection to each other and our love of humanity and our love of goodness and our basic belief in the goodness of human beings. So as we have our discussions of the next 2 or 3 days, let's kind of keep the feelings that we have of being in this holy place with this history. And the way I look at viewing this marvelous Acropolis is to see us here in the 21st century as being links in this connection of this democratic past and what we're trying to recreate for the future. And although some may feel as though we're not going to see as much democracy in our lifetime as we would like to see, each one of us is playing a very crucial role in making sure that future generations know about democracy, love democracy, and continue this wonderful legacy that we are a part of.
About the procedure of our Congress? Yeah, please.
Procedure. On the program, we have time frames for each report. As I indicated, today we'll begin afternoon with reports from different countries, and individuals will be updating us to the best of their knowledge about what's happening in direct democracy. We ask you to please keep to your time frame, even if you have lots more information. Please understand that if everyone is to speak and have adequate time to speak, we have to stay within our time frame. We'll hope to have questions at the end of presentations. And again, we're hoping this will stimulate a lot of dialogue and a lot of deliberation. So keep in mind that your one presentation is not the only opportunity you have to interact with others. So as pointed out, the first day we'll get updated.
So we hope all the best to all of you. And we hope the 21st century will bring our hopes.